Hello, this is Corey Jeffers. I'll be talking to you today a little bit about micro-credentialing and the potential impact on teacher professional development. So we have current issues in professional development in the education world, which can often be quite frustrating. And many districts say that there are at least 3 common factors that prohibit successful teacher professional development from occurring regularly. They often point to time, money, and relevance. Many teachers and administrators are frustrated that meaningful professional development is tremendously time-consuming, and the current structure does not provide the right environment. Furthermore, teachers often express that teacher professional development is far too expensive. Receiving additional college credits and multiple college degrees to maintain licensure is really expensive, especially when many districts have cut back on compensation for credits. And finally, many college courses and programs are often at best partially relevant to what teachers actually need for professional development. In a traditional credentialing setting, an institution unrelated to the specific needs of teachers is providing the professional development, and that disconnect often compromises the relevance. So, with micro-credentialing, we have to look at what comes along with micro-credentialing, and the first thing is digital badges. So what is a digital badge? Well, a digital badge is a visual representation of skill or achievement. And it's a little bit more than that. The MacArthur Foundation describes a digital badge as an assessment and credentialing mechanism that is housed and managed online. Badges are designed to make visible and validate learning in both formal and informal settings, and hold the potential to help transform where and how learning is valued. In shorter terms, a digital badge is an indicator of one's skills, performance, and even personal qualities. In order for a digital badge to maintain its integrity, it must contain metadata that is valid and also authentic. In John C. Foster's The Promise of Digital Badges, he explains the real beauty of digital badges lies in a set of metadata that provides an easily verifiable method for potential employers to not only verify the authenticity of the badge, but also enable them to see the specificity of an individual's skills. However, as explained by the American Institutes for Research, the potential and value of using digital badges for adult learners, there must be a process for developing, issuing, and managing and storing badges that contains open interoperability standards so that badges can be integrated easily into an individual's portfolio. In other words, if local, state, and national institutions develop badges and maintenance standards independently of one another, we will have a similar problem to current higher education transcripts. Econ 101 at one university might not be accepted at another university because their descriptions don't match. So how does a collection of badges from an institution translate into the ecosystem of badges provided by a neighboring institution? Well, Foster argues that standardization is needed in order to prevent some of this stuff from happening. We need to make sure that badges don't go the same way as traditional credentialing. So we have to develop then a badging ecosystem. And they're luckily that Mozilla has actually started to develop some of these systems, and there's actually a couple of other companies that have done it as well. The article The Promise of Digital Badges breaks down the badging ecosystem into 5 components, with the main 3 components being issuers, earners, and displayers of digital badges. The 2 other components are the badges themselves and the badge storage. Ideally, the badge storage could be done in a variety of locations, such as websites, school-based networks, cloud-based services, and social media outlets. Furthermore, the badges themselves would need to have some sort of digital encryption to secure the metadata and preserve its integrity for employers and administrators. Mozilla's Open Badges project aims to provide a secure, open source, and practical housing mechanism to keep digital badges safe, secure, and visible. I assume that if digital badges do begin to supplement or replace traditional credentials, we will be seeing big corporations attempt to corner the market for the most user-friendly micro-credentialing ecosystems. So how might schools actually use these badges? Badges in teacher professional development have extraordinary possibilities. Some of the new initiatives in the educational realm would lend themselves well to micro-credentialing systems because there are very few, if any, university credentials that demonstrate a teacher's proficiency or expertise in these areas. For example, the Wisconsin Department of Public Instruction might work with Teachscape or the Danielson Group to develop badges for educator effectiveness that reference the 4 domains, 22 components, and 76 elements of effective instruction. As part of the evaluation process, teachers might receive leveled badges for demonstrating proficient and distinguished practices. Other examples might include badges for response to intervention, positive behavior interventions and supports, as well as Google Apps for education. One of the other benefits of micro-credentialing is the decentralization of credentials. Credentials under micro-credentialing can come from multiple institutions. Schools and local organizations can create credentials to help share resources, so they can be very localized. So in the older model, if you see on the left-hand side, the left picture there, looks like the institution is in the middle there, providing the credentials to all of the people on the outside. There's really nowhere else to get them except from the university. In the decentralized model, you can go to community classes, you can have them basically at the school. There's a variety of places that you can go to get micro-credentials. So one of the basic ideas behind micro-credentialing is the idea that learning happens anywhere and at any time, and it is not reserved for isolated professional development events, and it is not only propelled by institutions of higher learning. Therefore, micro-credentials have the capacity to represent learning more accurately than traditional transcripts. Micro-credentials might free up teacher professional development so that it becomes more personalized and targeted rather than prescripted and homogeneous. Another major benefit of micro-credentials is the recognition of prior learning. So for example, a pre-assessment to test out of learning new development initiatives. So another major facet of this then is the ability to establish that pre-assessment system whereby teachers and administrators can test out of mandated professional development sessions. This wouldn't mean that those staff suddenly have a day off, although it could. It would mean that those staff are free to pursue independent development opportunities related to their personalized professional development plan because they have already demonstrated proficiency in mandated initiatives. Another major benefit of this micro-credentialing system is the granularity and individualization. In Badges Lend Gravitas to Free Education Revolution, James Michael Crotty argues that a major benefit to micro-credentials is that they are more granular and objective than is possible with transcripts and diplomas. Crotty explains that with micro-credentials, an employer will be able to see distinctions among candidates not possible with traditional credentials. For example, 2 applicants may have the same GPA and the same degree from the same accredited institution, but an employer may still struggle with which one is best prepared for highly specific occupations. The micro-credentialing would provide more detailed and objectively verifiable information so that the employer can identify which applicant is better prepared in the discrete competency for which they are hiring. Basically, what micro-credentialing does is provide a clearer picture of what each person can do. The old way is the one that the large aggregated degree is what described your overall competency. One degree meant that virtually everyone that had the degree was described in exactly the same way. The new way shows what the individual has pursued to describe his or her own competencies specifically. There are also new forms of achievement that come along with micro-credentialing. According to Professional Examination Services article, digital badges emerge as part of credentialing's future. Badges could be used to indicate a variety of new achievements. For example, badges could be issued in aggregate to equal a particular college degree, or membership organizations could issue specialty micro-credentials. In teacher professional development, teachers might receive a credential for becoming the school's RTI specialist, Google Apps for Education specialist, or differentiated assessment specialist, amongst other possibilities. Micro-credentialing also brings about greater motivation. According to the American Institute for Research's article, The Potential and Value of Using Digital Badges for Adult Learners, badges tap into many of the same principles known to motivate people in games. They call it the game mechanic element. And unlike most other professional development opportunities, it has a known capacity for individual motivation. One example cited by the American Institute for Research demonstrated that students who were rewarded with expected and surprise badges during digital literacy courses committed more time to studying the content. Within a teacher professional development setting, digital badges can also serve as an indicator of alternative compensation. Many districts have eliminated additional pay for achieving more graduate credits, or they have required graduate courses to pass a stringent approval process in order for any compensation to be awarded. Digital badges might allow districts to participate in the creation of the assessment specific to awarding a badge, so the approval process would no longer be necessary. So let's take a look at some examples of badges in teacher professional development. One strong example of micro-credentialing is the 2 Million Better Futures initiative endorsed by the MacArthur Foundation and Bill Clinton. The goal of 2 Million Better Futures is to have, by 2016, an open badge ecosystem that at least 1 million workers and 1 million students can access. Their hope is to provide better evaluation precision for learning to benefit both learners and employers. A smaller example comes from Laura Fleming at New Milford High School in New Jersey. Laura has designed a micro-credentialing environment specifically for her school district that is aligned with ISTE standards. Teachers can choose a task, demonstrate a competency, and earn a badge they can display on their websites or through social media. At this point, the micro-credentials are used to supplement professional growth period portfolios that teachers present during their end-of-the-year evaluation conferences. So what we'll need to change in order to have micro-credentialing be a part of our professional development, teacher professional development. Well, in reading some of these articles, I found basically 3 things that really needed to change. And there are numerous changes that are cited by various organizations who are proponents of micro-credentialing. Most of them revolved around job-embedded professional development opportunities, building a standardized micro-credentialing system in a similar fashion to that of Common Core, so that the micro-credentials would be the same from district to district and would be able to be transferable and also transparent, and implementing personalized learning plans tied to educator effectiveness that allow teachers to pursue their educational strengths and interests and keep them accountable with specific badging ecosystems. This will allow teachers to seek specific professional development that they believe will have the greatest impact on student achievement and demonstrate their competencies in those areas of development. Maybe with a system like this, we will have compensation tied to performance, and educators will be motivated by their professional development pursuits. Micro-credentialing has a long way to go to compete with traditional credentialing, but the possibilities are truly exciting. Thank you for listening.